Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular town board meeting. Today is Monday, November 2nd. Please join me while we pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi.
Bring my budget bill.
Is everything okay?
No, it's not, no, that machine's not okay, but everything else, oh, here we go. Everything else.
Camera's
Okay.
not on.
I'm on up here.
Yeah, I think so. We're all on.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good.
Thank you very much. Okay. May I please have a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters,
Make a motion.
labor negotiations?
Make a
Second.
motion?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. See you shortly. Okay.
We don't.
Okay, let's get going, guys.
We'll have complaints from the other.
Okay, may I have a motion to return from executive session?
Make a motion?
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. May I also have a motion to accept the minutes of October 19th?
I'll make a motion again.
And second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, presently, we will have the budget hearing, the preliminary budget public hearing. It's not quite 7:05, so we can't do that as of yet, right?
And no decisions were made.
Oh, yes, no decisions were made in the executive session. So you know what, I have a few announcements that I'll just make as long as, just to wait till 7:05.
Do we need to add a resolution as well?
We will be adding some, yep.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So the first announcement is just that I received a letter from Stone Ledge Apartments. They are located off of Farm Lane, where we recently completed a sidewalk. And basically, they are letting us know that they have 84 units of housing at Stone Ledge Senior Apartments, and that they are currently accepting rental applications, though there is a waiting list. So I just wanted to let the public know that I do have those in my office if anyone would like to come in. It's a really beautiful apartment building, and so those are available. Let's see, what other items did I want to mention? Oh, I want to do a couple of shout outs about property maintenance, especially to David Ray and Warren for solving a very pernicious issue on Yates Avenue.
Yates.
And I'm hoping that through your perseverance, it's solved, and thank you both for that. That was really very time consuming, despite it being a apparently small item.
You would think it'd be easy, but it wasn't.
No,
Yeah.
so.
Hopefully it's all solved.
Hopefully, we have neighbors watching.
And additionally, I'd like to mention what a great job our building inspector, Don Westmeyer, did on solving another very pernicious problem on South Cross Road, whereas there was a foreclosure and basically the front yard was used as a dump. And it took, again, it was very time consuming, and Don did an awesome job, especially in his clever research of how to find the bank. He actually called the number that was on the dumpster and tracked it from there. And so I really, want to just recognize that effort, because it was tremendous to get that done.
The neighbors on South Cross were very grateful.
Yep, absolutely.
What a mess that was.
So then the final item is, let me just see if I can find the letters that are here. A few weeks back, we received a request, or maybe it was just a week or so ago, from two property owners on 9G, the owner of the Hobo and the owner of the dialysis center. So the former Hobo and the current dialysis center. And so they had requested that the town, let me just start at the beginning. So at the current time, the town of Poughkeepsie provides sewer service to the Page property. And with the redevelopment of the Hobowl, the Baxters would also like to purchase sewer service for their property. And they had initial conversations with various people, and it was recommended that they, instead of just having one purchase it, this service, that they form a sewer district. And so they wrote to us to ask if we would consider doing that, forming a sewer district for those two properties. And thinking that through, we would of course like to support them in each and every way that we could, but at the current time, we are in the process of transferring all our water and sewer districts to the county. So if we were to do that, it would seem to be a step backwards. So I did have conversations with the Water Authority, and they are interested in pursuing that on their behalf.
Good,
So
great.
what they needed from us was a letter explaining our position so that they could then go forward with the county legislature and with the Water Authority to pursue the formation of that sewer district. So,
They'll be tying into the Poughkeepsie, I just want to make sure that's
Yep.
clear, that there is sewage capacity available through the town of Poughkeepsie, city of Poughkeepsie, and so they'll be just tying right into that.
that's exactly right. But they were an out-of-district customer, and now that there's a little hub brewing there or forming, it seems to make sense to pursue that as a district. So I did write both Mr. Page and Mr. Baxter and let them know the town's position and offer to help them in any way we can. So I just wanted to bring the board up to speed on that and make sure that everyone
Yeah.
also agreed that that's an appropriate decision.
That's very
Absolutely. Yeah, we
business-friendly.
want to
Thank
get back into
Okay, great.
business.
Good. Okay, so let's then do the housekeeping, if that's okay. I'd like to add a few items to the agenda. The first is a workshop, and that is to discuss the Partnership for Manageable Growth Program grant application that we have in our package. So we'll get to that shortly. And then we also have a resolution number 12 that authorizes the supervisor to sign the memorandum of agreement regarding the health insurance changes with the PBA. So might I have a motion to add those items to the agenda?
So moved.
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Let me see. Not quite 7:05 yet. Warren, want to talk about the stormwater management changes?
That's pretty straightforward.
Good.
We have a proposed local law revising Chapter 93 of the Town Code, which deals with stormwater management and erosion and sediment control. Chapter 93 was amended. What is it? Chapter 93 was amended by local law number 1 of 2009, and on the advice of the town engineer and our zoning administrator, Tad, we have determined that the provisions of the code need to be amended to ensure that that section of the code complies with the new federal and state guidelines for stormwater control, including the New York State DEC MS4 program requirements. So with the assistance of Tad and our engineer, I have drafted a local law amending Chapter 93 so as to come into compliance with those regulations. And we decided that rather than try to piecemeal amend the sections of the code, we're simply going to repeal that section and replace it with the new 93, and that's what the local law does. And there's a clause in there that provides that anybody who's received a permit or any enforcement action under the old law, that will continue. This will not impair that. The other change that we made one change to the original draft documents, and that is that our zoning administrator has to be the enforcement officer under the code, not our town engineer, because our town engineer is not an employee of the town, so I made that change. So I have a resolution for you. We would add to the agenda, if you want to do that tonight, that would just schedule the public hearing on this.
Okay.
So.
Is that okay with everyone?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so,
Yeah, great.
yeah, let's
Okay.
get this done.
Let's get it done.
Okay, so this is a resolution setting the public hearing for when?
You tell me. I put it down for December
December 7th?
December 7th, if that's
Okay.
okay, at 7:05 PM.
Okay. All righty. So can we go ahead and have a motion to add Resolution 11-2-13 to set the public hearing for the proposed local law revising Chapter 93?
Make a motion?
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
We're all set.
great.
And it's a type 2 action under seeker, so it doesn't require any seeker review. So that's in the resolution.
All right. Okay, so it is now 7:05, and I would like to ask the town clerk to read the public hearing notice after I have a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion?
And second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
And Madam Clerk, could you please read the public hearing notice?
Notice is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park will conduct a public hearing on the second day of November 2015 at 7:05 PM at the Town Hall, Town of Hyde Park, 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York, for the purpose of holding a public hearing on the preliminary budget of said town for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2016. A copy of said preliminary budget is available at the office of the Town Clerk of the Town of Hyde Park, Town Hall, 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York, during the hours of 8:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m., Monday through Friday, where it may be inspected by any interested person. The proposed salaries for the calendar year 2016 are as follows. Supervisor, $24,500. Councilperson, $7,500. Town clerk, $44,000. Receiver of taxes, $31,827. Town justice, $31,000. Supervisor of highways, $70,000. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park, dated October 22nd, 2015, Hyde Park, New York, Donna McGrogan, Town Clerk.
Thank you very much. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and open the public hearing and invite the public to come up and speak. Please state your name and your address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Hello.
Hi, Jeanette Martino, 13 Franklin Road. I appreciate that you really tried to keep the tax levy down, but as a taxpayer, I still would like to voice some concerns that I have, because I know throughout the year, TC, the town comptroller, has constantly said the mortgage taxes have come in under expectations, sales taxes have come in under expectations, and the taxable value for this year has really dropped. I think it hasn't been this low since 2007, and that was at a time when the tax levy was actually half of what we're spending now. So I know it's going to be challenging, but I also know that as a budget, as you went through and you went to the different department heads, you really tried to keep them down to minimal. And that's what they did for you. But I would also like to remind you that the 5 people up here, you have an interesting advantage over everybody else, and that is that if you embark on projects or you embark on things that you want to accomplish, you have the ability to go to TC and say, find us money. So what I would like to urge, because we don't know if the tax revenues are going to increase, we don't know if the sales tax revenues from the county will increase, and there is an expectation that yes, the taxable value has slowly been decreasing, that it's going to become harder and harder for the taxpayers of Hyde Park to dip into their pockets to make up the difference, because that's exactly what's going to happen. So I urge you to be very conservative and to really think through your projects and really try to conserve as much as you can in anticipation of additional shortfalls. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, would anyone else like to comment on the preliminary budget? Okay, so it doesn't appear so. So may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Okay. Does anyone have any comments or? Okay, so well, moving on. We have another, a couple of items on our workshop. We have already handled the first, and so now we're moving on to a discussion with our Planning Board Chair, Michael Dupree, on the County Planning Board referrals. So thank you so much for attending that workshop with Owen Rafter and the county officials last week. And so hopefully you can give us a complete update on the changes in their policies.
I want to first thank the town board, Supervisor Rohr in particular, because I know you controlled the agenda, for letting me be on with so little advance warning. But Councilman Svensson can tell you I called the next morning like squealing with joy over this. And I know that sounds nerdy, but the reason why is because every time that there's an opportunity for us to, A, partner with the county like we've been doing for so long, it makes sense to me because they have experts there who've analyzed this. And two, what I could see immediately upon listening to this was there's a real advantage to this streamlining the process, the approval process. It's not going to affect the town board and the planning board as much as it's going to affect the zoning board of appeals. And who that really affects, that means, are the little guys, people who want to come in to change or build a shed, a deck, or a roof. Right now, as you know, to do that, if you need an area variance, that's required to be referred to the county. And if we can get this intermunicipal agreement going and signed, then there's a whole reduction that will happen across the county in each municipality, but in Hyde Park. And I think it makes sense for us because, again, the people who have to go through this process are the ones who usually don't even realize there's a process to go through. But it'll also shave staff time and expense on this as well, both on the county level and our level, so it'll free up personnel to do more work. So the meeting was held, I believe, last Thursday, and as you can see from the slideshow, it was called Simplifying Referrals, introducing new web tools. The new web tools I've already explained to Tad what's going on about that, and we actually practiced with it earlier this evening. So under the New York State General Municipal Law, certain actions are required to be reviewed to the county. They're basically done so to see if there's a county-wide concern or if there's something that would affect the municipality next to us. So, for example, Pleasant Valley was trying to change its sign code, proposing to, and they referred it to us. You saw my letter about what we thought about the changes because it would have affected us. They were thinking about putting up 28-foot tall signs for gas or fueling stations. These GML laws apply to legislative bodies, i.e. town boards, planning boards, and zoning boards of appeals. To the left, you can see what the actions are that trigger automatic referrals, and to the right, you can see a jurisdictional determinant, and what that means is if it's within 500 feet of a state road, municipal boundary, you see what's listed, then they automatically must be referred as well. In our case, one of the reasons why you'll be seeing later when it won't affect the planning board much is because almost all commercial site plans are on 909G, so they're always referred to the county because they're on state roads. So I'm going to give a shout out to Deputy Commissioner Ron Hicks, who's the Commissioner of Economic Development and Strategic Planning. When he came in, he asked the planning board or the planning department to take a look at all the referrals they get from around the county. For the last 5 years, they made an analysis, and as you can see, by far the greatest number, nearly 57%, are where we got a letter back saying, local matter, local concern, no comments whatsoever, 0. They analyzed what those were, and those were primarily area variances for residential uses. Again, sheds, decks, pools, where the property is non-conforming, and we have our own setback requirements, which I want to add are important because if you own the property and someone puts a shed right next to you too close, you're going to lose some privacy. So that's why the setbacks were there in the first place. But on many of our properties, and Hyde Park being so old, it's a sort of onerous process to go through. So I would also point out that 20.7% are local decisions with comments, and those are the ones that really matter the most to county planning. I'll also direct your eye down to the very bottom where you see denials and conditional denials make up a very small portion of what's referred to the county and what they respond back to. So what they're proposing to exempt, and what happened was, is after they analyzed these percentages, Jennifer Kokotsa in the County Planning Department contacted New York State Department of State and said, is there a way we can take out a lot of this, small stuff that really has no business being referred to us? And the Department of State personnel said, yes, Nassau County has formed an agreement and we can share with you the draft. Why it took them 3 years, I'm not sure, to come forth, but apparently some of the county attorneys were reluctant to actually go through this, and they took them a while to draft the language. But at any rate, 3 years later, we have it. So what they're proposing to exempt would be zoning amendments that you guys make about fees. There's no reason really for the county to go to that, because there's already a requirement that fees have to be proportional to other to other municipalities in the area. Certain procedural changes that you're proposing that they're not interested in, penalties, none of that would have to be referred over. The other thing that would no longer be referred for special permits, use variances, and area variances for residential uses. That's the biggest area to cut down. And that would affect planning boards would be renewals or extensions of site plans or special permits that have no changes from previous approvals. So for example, the hobo you're referring to, that use actually lapsed. We redid it real quickly, but we had to refer it to county, so it added another 30 days. That means time and money that's being spent by our staff that would no longer have to be spent, because for them it's a rubber stamp. It looks exactly the same as the last time. Now, one of the things I want to point out that Tad and I were discussing earlier, there were only a few what I will call really penetrating questions at the meeting, and one of them was, what if, and they gave various examples. So one of the things the county said is if you have any questions at the beginning of this process, you err on the side of caution, and you refer it anyway, even if you've adopted it. All the county will do is say, non-jurisdictional, so you start learning the process as you go along. So there's a sort of a built-in thing that if you're even at all nervous about what to refer it anyway, the county will tell you. They went back through the last 10 years now of application, of referrals, and this will show you where, if you can zero in on Hyde Park, I don't have a pointer up here, sorry. Hyde Park is expected to reduce the number of referrals by 12%. That's not a lot, again, because as I said, we do a lot of referring the planning board because most of our applications are on state highways. But if you look in the rural areas, like Milan and Beekman, they'll go down 71%. That's a lot. In our rural areas, of course, by the way, the setbacks don't hit so much because we have large land lots out there. But you would also see this as further subdivisions are developed, you would expect to see less and less go down too. These are the referrals that you still have to send over. Obviously, comprehensive changes to comprehensive or master plans, zoning amendments, rezonings, local laws associated with zoning, historic preservation, affordable housing, things like that. All site plans still must go over. Special permits, use variances, area variances for non-residential uses, and any secret type 1 actions. One of the questions that came up was, well, what about an apartment? Because that's a residential use. The answer, I knew it immediately, give me a gold star, was that if you have to have any kind of area variance for it or use variance for the residential portion, that's one action by the ZBA that no longer has to be referred. But under almost all of our laws in this county, more than 2-family housing requires site plan, in some cases even 2-family. So the site plan still has to be referred over to the county. So if you have a new apartment building, one portion of the action, or there are 2 actions taken, one action taken gets referred, the other no longer has to. So again, this speeds the process. Next steps are, you would, I think I sent Attorney Replansky a copy of it by PDF, but if not.
I did get your email, and I didn't realize you had the IM.
Yeah, I've got it in there. Right.
Today,
I also gave Supervisor Roy a paper copy. Yeah. And one of the reasons why I wanted to get kind of on the board meeting tonight was the earlier we sign this, it won't take effect until January 1st, 2016. But I would love to see Hyde Park be the first in the county to get it signed and get going, to know that we're trying to take care of our people. So any questions?
No, very thorough. Yeah. No,
The other thing I want to point out then is that the agreement, when you sign it, it's good for 1 year, and then there are 4 1-year automatic renewals. But again, this is sort of a good step in the process. If you discover after a year, oh, this isn't working out for us, you can stop it after a year, which I think is great. Otherwise, you just kind of say, oh, it's automatic, and then in 5 years, we'll start it up again. I expect that most municipalities will do this. There weren't actually a lot of planning board chairs there, So letters will be going out sometime, I believe, this week or next to planning board chairs and supervisors. But if you weren't there, it's probably not as easy to understand it. So, because there were a couple of supervisors there. But I think that most towns will jump on this. Like I said, I thought it'd be nice to go ahead and get it out of the way for you guys to have an understanding. If you had any questions, to ask me now.
So if a regular resident came through the door and they wanted to put up a shed, or they had an issue with a shed, by having this in place, they would save 30 days because it doesn't have to go to the county now? Is that what we're saying?
The way this works is, or it could be more than that. The Zoning Board of Appeals, unlike you guys and the Planning Board, the ZBA meets only once a month. So the first meeting, they will workshop it just like we all do. Then the second meeting, they'll type the action and then do the referral. And the county has 30 days in which to respond. So depending on the meeting dates, sometimes it can take longer than 3 days because some months are less, February, et cetera. So you could shave off either 2 months or a month automatically.
Wow.
So the ZBA, and in some cases, if the ZBA had enough time, if it's really minor action, they could workshop it and then the same night type the action and go ahead and make the resolution itself. Because the ZBA often writes their own resolutions. Aileen was on it, so she knows. So this could actually make it, if there seems to be no issue, sometimes they may still want to have a public hearing, so it would still take 2 months. But because if there's controversy, you really do, or potential controversy, you want to have the neighbors have an opportunity to speak.
Sure.
But if it's something that seems very minor, particularly like a deck,
Right.
I think it can really save time.
Well, thank you. That's
I think
real
it's
efficient.
great.
It's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fantastic that it helps the property owners, that they don't have a delay in having decisions made so that they can move forward with projects to improve their homes. It also will save staff time both at the town and the county, which both translate to tax dollars for all of us. And I just really want to thank you for being the Uber volunteer who not only, does the regular planning board work, but you went out of your way to attend this training and learn about this and bring it back to us. And I'd love for Hyde Park to hop on board.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Michael, I think it's a great idea. The only question I had is that it doesn't require any enactment of a local law superseding general municipal law?
No, I think that's what took 3 years, was there's a lot of attorney work between Department of State. I mean, Jennifer's not an attorney, she's a planner. So there was a question of how far do we have to go to supersede this? And that's why the IMA doesn't, I mean, I've seen IMAs before that are cumbersome. This is, I think, 2.5 pages. So it was very, very much vetted apparently by the attorneys. Now, the step is it's really for you to make sure you're comfortable with the language, because that's what they urged all of us, or all the people there, to make sure that the town attorneys were comfortable with this. So
I'll take a look at it. I think there is a provision in the general municipal law that allows you to override the referral provisions by agreement with the county, but that may be what they're relying on. I'm sorry. So I'll take a look, but that's great.
It's very good, very, very good.
thanks. So thanks for
Okay,
giving me the
well,
time.
Thank you so much for
And again,
everything.
it's like I said, this is one more way that when you partner with the county and use their expertise, you can make some differences in everyday lives.
Absolutely. Okay, well.
Thanks.
all
Thanks,
righty.
Michael.
Thank you. Okay, so the next workshop, actually, it's pretty straightforward, and it's essentially to provide you all with the update on resolution number 10, which is our submission to the Dutchess County Partnership for Manageable Growth Program application. So a number of years ago, Michael might actually know when the county formed their Manageable Growth program, because it was a two-part program originally to preserve open space as well as provide infrastructure in centers to encourage growth in the areas that are easier and less costly to maintain, and just in terms of urban planning, consistent with those smart growth principles. So they originally funded the portion of the program that provided funding to purchase green space or to acquire green space. But this year, they decided to fund this second portion, which is to provide a grant program for infrastructure, to create infrastructure. So we spent some time, Emily and I, talking with the Water Authority and with Pete, our town engineer, to develop an application for this program. And essentially, one needed to have a existing report in place, an engineer's report, in order to go forward. And fortunately, we did have one.
This is all for sewer.
For sewer,
for-
yes.
yeah.
Oh, did I say water? Did I?
We were just talking about infrastructure. I wanna
Infrastructure,
make sure
okay,
it's
so
clear
to be
that it's
very
sewer.
specific,
Yeah.
sorry, it is for the, a sewer district for, a commercial sewer district for Hyde Park. So, we had a plan from 2007, that was the last iteration of a sewer district. And what we did is we resurrected that, and we worked with our town engineer to update it so that we could make this submission. And he took the original numbers, the original map plan and report, and updated it with new costs. And so the projected cost is a $14 million price tag. So this grant would provide up to 25%. I don't know, is there a cap? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't recall.
To contribute towards the formation of this district. So we're applying for it. It seems as if it will be a process of refining our numbers, refining the project, and so that is basically where we are. Do you have any thing to add to that, Emily?
I mean, I hate to get too optimistic because, of course, lots of communities are going to be applying, but it would be fantastic if Hyde Park were chosen. A good chunk of grant money would potentially allow the district to become affordable for the customers so that you could bond the rest of the cost of constructing it and bring it down to a cost that would be reasonable. So here's
And-
hoping.
Yeah, here it is. So we're not leaving any stones unturned. And it's great timing, though, because we do have a potential project at Belfield at Hyde Park. And most people who have followed that at all know that there was attached to that concept plan a commercial sewer district, or a contribution to a commercial sewer district in excess of what they would be using. So it seems like there's a few pieces that we're able to put in play and in place with this. And so, we'll submit it and we'll see, what kind of feedback we get from the county, from the Water Authority. But it does feel a little bit encouraging that we have a couple of pieces in play.
You got to be in it to win it, right?
That's right. Okay, so I don't know if anyone has any further.
Oh, sounds wonderful.
So we'll see what happens, right?
Oh, yeah, I think it's great. Go for it.
Okay, so moving on, I would like to invite the public up for comment on resolutions only at this time. Oops, actually, you guys were a little?
Yeah, sorry,
A
we-
little?
Well, we needed to move it so the screen was visible to the
Oh, okay.
camera. That we weren't trying to discourage any comments.
Well, actually, tonight is the first meeting of the month, so I would like to just invite people up for the public comment on the resolutions, as well as any matter of town business that they would like to comment on. And again, just state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hi, Janet Martino, 13 Franklin Road. I notice resolution number 6, and I would also like to repeat what I had mentioned at a town board meeting last month and earlier, that I understand that sidewalks are a commitment by this board for walkable community, but I would also like to see the town board also investigate how you can use these community block grants to sort of address some of the blighted areas in town. And I've talked about the zombie properties that have been left behind, that are being picked up by Dutchess, the county, for paying the taxes. But there's no accountability for maintenance. The longer they stay in that condition, the greater they deteriorate and become a safety hazard, not only for the neighbors, but also for any of the emergency response that might have to be called in at any time to that property. So I would like to see for number 6, at least, an indication that we have sidewalks, yes, but can we address some of the other areas and see if we can get those block grants in order to address some of the blighted areas that we have in town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, would anyone else like to come on up and make a public comment on the resolutions or any matter of town business? Okay, then let's just move on to the resolutions.
Resolution 1121 of 2015, resolution amending the Town of Hyde Park Town Board meeting schedule. And I believe that's just canceling the November 23rd meeting in favor of the 16th.
That's correct.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 112-2 of 2015, resolution setting public hearing of special district benefit assessment rolls.
Second?
And that public hearing will be set for November 16th at 7:05. And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 11-2-3 of 2015, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute an intermunicipal agreement with the Statsburg Fire District for snow plowing and salting services for the Statsburg Fire District for 2 firehouses located in Statsburg, New York.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 11-2-4, 2015, resolution entering into a snow and ice control program with Dutchess County and authorizing the town supervisor to execute an intermunicipal agreement with the County of Dutchess.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
I
And
just wanted to extend my thanks to the Highway Department for agreeing to take on even more roads this year. I know it's extra work for the crew and also extra work for Dawn to keep track of all of it, but it's a great way for us to share a service with the county and save everyone money.
Yes, absolutely. And did we do a vote? Okay.
We did.
Oh, sorry, that's me. Resolution 1125 of 2015, resolution approving budget revisions to the Town of Hyde Park for the period of October 2015, budget revisions number 2015-10.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 11-2-6 of 2014, resolution authorizing the submission of fiscal year 2016 Dutchess County Community Development Block Grant Program application.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, it was great meeting with Ann Saylor. She's the person who runs the program at Dutchess County, and Emily and I have met with her numerous times, as did Hannah, when we're in the development of our applications, and got lots of information from her on not only the program requirements, but also on the scoring, and her input was very valuable in the development of this application and the many that we've succeeded on.
Correct. Nice job.
Resolution 11-2-7 of 2015, resolution authorizing return of the balance of escrows for planning board projects.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 11-2-8 of 2015, resolution authorizing a lease agreement with the Culinary Institute of America and the Town of Hyde Park for adult lap swim.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just want to let the public know that this is a great program that our rec department has put together, and it's to utilize the beautiful pool at the CIA. They will be running the adults lap swim program on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 7:30 throughout the rest of this year through December 8th. And if anyone is interested in joining, there are still opportunities, and Kathleen is even offering a drop-in program where you don't have to pre-commit, but you could just pay $10 to go take a swim at the CIA. So,
And this is a new program.
it is-
It used to be seniors, correct?
well, they still have the seniors aerobics,
Right.
seniors.
So this is an addition
This is an
to-
additional program
That's great.
with the CIA, and I think it should be a nice enhancement. So if anyone has any questions, they could call the rec department or go on our website to get the details.
That's great.
Resolution 1129 of 2015, authorizing re-levy of unpaid special district charges and fees for 2015.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 112-10 of 2015, resolution authorizing the submission of Dutchess County Partnership for Manageable Growth Program application.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 112-11 of 2015, resolution authorizing Town of Hyde Park Police Department to participate in the application for County Shared Service Grant for police CIT training.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
I don't know if anybody's a fan of the Hyde Park Police Facebook page, but did you see the new police car today?
It is very cute.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And this was added at the dais. This is a Resolution 11-2-12 of 2015. Resolution authorizing town supervisor to sign the memorandum of agreement regarding health insurance changes with the Police Benevolent Association Incorporated, PBA.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 11213 of 2015, resolution receiving a proposed local law revising Chapter 93 of the Town Code on stormwater management and erosion and sediment control for purposes of commencing the local law adoption process.
Second.
And we will be setting that for December 7th, 2015. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tomorrow is Election Day, so please come out and vote.
Absolutely. And I think that's it. Okay. So may I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wait,
Thank you.
second. we
December
second.
7th.